Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reset. Jacqui, it's great to see you.
Welcome to Reset. Nice to see you, too. How are you?
I'm great. You're on location. You're traveling now, right?
I am. I'm traveling. I'm on tour, and I'm in LA today. I'm here for like a bunch of days, so I'm excited.
Wow.
It's sunny, as you can see.
I can see sunny California. Lucky you.
I'm excited. I hope I get to go to the pool a little bit. Well, anyway, even if it's like an hour in the morning, it'll make me happy.
Well, that's cool. I know you've been working out a lot, so you get a chance to show off those guns, right?
I don't know. It's up to Chuck to let me know if I really have guns.
Well, tonight's guest, as I introduce him, Chuck Elion, is truly a specimen. You talk about guns, you got to see the guns on this guy. Now, he's 78, and I just watched him do literally 400 push-ups within an 8-minute time period. Phenomenal.
Wow.
Phenomenal. So, you know, Chuck used to play for the NFL. He's a veteran, and he's a dad, and he's a great role model. He's a true mentor and a serial entrepreneur. And I'm so excited to have my good friend, Chuck Elion. Let's welcome him to Reset. Chuck, welcome to Reset.
Welcome.
Happy to be on Reset, and always a pleasure to sit beside Sifu because there seems to be some verbal magnet that transcends from him to me, and I like that. I'm always learning something.
Well, you know, a lot of times I'm on stage and I tell these great stories and people don't know where I get them from. That's where I get them from. I get them from Chuck. All my great stories come from Chuck. So we're going to start tonight by actually listening to a great story. I'm going to ask Chuck to actually share his life story a little bit with us.
Okay.
Because you have a very interesting story, and I know there's a lot of resets. But just tell us a little bit about Chuck, where you from, how you grew up, your parents.
Okay. Well, Jacqui, originally I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. And I was raised in the South. I guess about one of the claim of fame I have is I was born in Memphis, and we were about 4 miles from Elvis Presley. And,
nice.
and I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because I want to say this story while I'm on Elvis Presley. When I was playing for high school, my brother and I was going down the main drag in Tennessee. And I was driving the car, and it just so happened that I was going to play one of our rival high schools the next day. And I was on the radio. The announcer was saying, Chuck Elion going to be tested tomorrow when they play Melrose, which has won 5 games and lost none. And Booker Washington, which was my school, had played 5 games but lost 2. But we're looking for a good game from Chuck Elion. So just as he was talking about that, a car pulled up next to us at the red light. And my brother Lonnie was in the seat. So he said, Charles, look who's in the next car. This is So I said, is he looking at me? He said, man, no, he's not looking at you. So I said, well, I'm not going to look at him then. I'm the one that's being talked about on the radio. So, you know. But anyway, Memphis was my hometown. South Memphis, and
you come from a big family.
It was the ghetto, and everybody in that area mostly had 4 to 7 kids, and there was 7 in my family. But the amazing thing about it, Jacqui, is that it's always interesting being born into a family like that because you feed off the other person, and a lot of the things that we learn from parents who only had a grade school education. I think my mother finished the 8th grade, but that's where when Sifu talked to me about what I say to him that seems to have some relevance to some of the speeches that he made, it comes from my mother, you know, and I'm talking about someone who has an 8th grade education, but wisdom beyond any. I remember one of the things I think I told Sifu that she had told me a long time ago, that I was always talking about having money, and I watch TV and I see all these TV programs, mom and dads, and they got this big, beautiful house. And I told my mother, you know, I must have been about 10 or 11 years old. I said, I can't wait till I can get up and buy my own home, have a nice car. Because actually in Memphis, a black family couldn't have two cars. And don't think about buying a Cadillac. You had to be very wealthy to buy a Cadillac. And there was one gentleman who was, belonged to a band. He had a Cadillac, and he bought his wife a Cadillac. And
wow.
there was an uproar in Memphis, but.
And what year was this?
That was in 49, you know, early 50s, 49, 50. But I was telling my mom all the time, I want this, I want that. So I never will forget, and I was sharing this with Sifu sometime when we get in a family conversation. My mom said, Charles, always remember, you can have anything in this world you want if you help enough other people to get what they want.
Oh, yes.
So that was something that sticks with me even to the day, you know. And I refuse to let somebody be nicer to me than I can to them, which was another part of her teaching. So when people ask me about these things, obviously I listen to some of the other leaders that I've been a part of, but mostly my mom has given me a good background in how to live a Christian and a perfect life.
So now you're in the NFL. You're playing for Kansas City. How did you get to Philadelphia?
I was released, and rightfully so. When I went there, I was weighing 204, and my speed was good. And I think I got cocky. I got satisfied with what I was doing. My speed was good, and I was happy. I was not happy, but I was okay with my performance because I was doing pretty good yardage when I was given the ball.
Right.
But we had 2-a-day practice, and the weather was like in Kansas City that year. The weather was like 106 degrees, and we had to practice 2 times a day with the uniform on. And I went from 202, 224, down to 189 pounds in a week. And I was just drained in my performance.
Showed it, reflected.
Yeah. So, but they were, somebody said, well, did you get hurt? I said, no, I didn't get hurt. They cut me, rightfully so. Even though I came in with good performance, but after a period of time, they had expected me to maintain that increase, but it didn't. It stayed at a level right here rather than get better. And but they thought enough of my performance to recommend me to Philadelphia, to someone that they knew in Philadelphia. And it happened to be somebody I played college ball with, Israel Lane. And they asked him, well, what about you? What do you think about Chuck Elion? And he said, Super Bowl player. He'll be a credit to the team. So they brought me down and held me out for that year until I learned the system. And actually, Jacqui, a lot of people think football is just brutal strength, but it's very, very cerebral. There's more thought process going into football than a lot of people think, you know. Yeah. And it really teaches you a lot of things, especially business. And business people, CEOs, and they love to have athletes because they show dedication. And they have that stick-to-itiveness attitude and refuse to lose. And that's a good employee. But so I ended up in Philadelphia, and I was there for a couple of years. Again, I'm not making excuses, but it's hard to go from college to make a professional team. I went from college, 2 years in the Army, and then came out to try to make a professional team. And I believe if they was a little more patient with me, I would have been able to maybe be in the league a little longer. But as I said, rightfully so, I was released because of my performance. I didn't come out of college, right out of college ball. I was doing something else in the Army, so forth. So I was just happy that, because that's something that's going far ahead. as I was telling you about where I was born in Memphis, that was my aspiration. I really wanted to play professional football. And I used to look at on the TV and see Jim Brown and Bobby Mitchell and all these players that left various colleges, these black players, and I wanted to be just like them. So I got into clothing after I left the Eagles. And I joined Burlington Industries, and that's when I became interested in fashion. And I couldn't wait to start selling fabrics and start meeting these designers and clothing manufacturers is what I was, selling to. And I became knowledgeable in the business. And after about 15 years, working at Burlington, 15, 20 years, I started my own company, Elion, a line of clothing. And Lawrence Taylor was wearing some of my sports apparel, and other athletes were wearing some of my sports apparel. And I was doing good, actually, until the rappers started coming on in the business, like Puffy Cohn and Jay-Z and Tommy Hilfiger was one of the ones that wasn't a rapper, but he had the financial background to support him. They ran the business. So I had to result back to start doing things with the military. So
you had to reset.
Yes.
You had to reset.
I had to reset. Thank you. I had to reset. And that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. I started doing clothing for the military.
That's amazing.
And I remember this buyer had shipped some of my clothing overseas, and a family member saw the clothing, and he wrote back and says, is there somebody in our family making clothing? So somebody must have told him, they call him Edward's son. Mm-hmm. Older people say, whose son it was. They don't say it was Charles.
Right.
Oh, that was Edward's son. So that was me. So he was thrilled because he'd go to the PX and buy some of my clothing and say, hey, man, that's my name on the clothes. So he was happy with that. But I did good with the Army until they changed buyers. And then this gentleman decided to buy more from offshore. And that lowered my production with the military there. So it always seemed to have been something that would interfere with the total success that I really was looking for in the clothing industry. But I did good, and I managed to get Macy's to buy some of my products, so they was there. And so I was pretty happy with that. I took one of my female friends at that time, and I didn't tell her that I was coming to show her my line of apparel. So I said, hey, look, there's some things that I want to buy at Macy's. Come go with me. So I go up there, and I go to my rack, the Elion rack. Yeah. So we got a rack full of clothes around there. And I said, what do you think about this? She said, I like that. Is that your name? I said, oh, yeah, but that wasn't what I was really showing you. Yeah. But, and then business fell off, and the rappers ran out of business, as I said, and I moved on to something else. I reset again. And now I've gone from soft goods to hard goods because I'm in the construction business now.
Wow. How did you get into the construction business? That is a big
jump.
Yeah, that's a big reset, huh? That is a reset. Well, I was my partner who was in the clothing business with me went to lunch with someone. They was talking about, he was telling them how slow business was, Greg. And he said, hey, Chuck, I met this person, and they were saying that we should try to look into opening up a minority construction business, because if you're a minority, you can get on, SBA, you get programs as a small business, and they're looking for women in minority businesses. So I said, wow, okay. So I'm going to start a company. So I started a company called DECA. And that was 2005. So we've been doing construction products ever since 2005.
What does DECA mean?
Wow.
DECA means, DECA, again, I just want to say how closely I think about my family. I've always wanted to be the one to take care of them. And DECA is the first initial for my 4 kids: Daryl, Erica, Cody, and Ashley.
Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But even before that, Jacqui, I had a food store that was selling Philadelphia cheesesteaks. And I had that, and I lost that business in a year. I lost $500,000 in that business. Before I got into that's right after I got out of clothing, I got in the food business. So I've been reset three times.
Business-wise.
Wow. Well, really, you've really been reset 5 times, because you got to figure 2 football teams.
Okay.
Then the clothing.
That'll work.
Track.
Then food. And now we're at construction.
I'm in construction, yeah. Actually, what we do is basically look for opportunities, pricing for customers to get the best price so that we could get the product, the contract. And we get products, we get opportunities from New York City agencies like the New York City Fire Department, the Parks Department, Housing Authority, Department of Transportation. Those are people that we sell products to. And the products that we...
Wow.
I'm sorry?
Wow, that's really amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good, but it's up and down again too. Like I'm finding out most business is up and down, but there are enough agencies there to try to keep you somewhat financially capable of taking care of yourself and your family. But so the construction business has been pretty good. Again, up and down. I was able to buy a couple of homes and from that, so I'm not complaining.
Yes.
But you know, I know I've jumped ahead quite a bit from my family as we grew up, because we used to do anything that was legitimately that would allow us to make money. We chopped cotton, we picked cotton. There was a man who had cows next door. I would take his cows out to pasture. You know, when I was in grade school and beginning in high school, I was a grocery boy. I used to go to people's home. I was an ice boy on the weekend. You know, an ice boy like from 4 to 5 o'clock, 4 to 6 o'clock. Then I go and be a grocery boy when the store opened at 7 o'clock. So I used to go to some of the same people's homes, knocking on the door, and I say, "Ice boy," you know, on the weekend. And later on that day, I'd knock on the same person's door, "Grocery boy." and the lady said, "Lord, that child is so confused. She don't know who he is." But we did anything that will make $1, you know. And
what about your relationship with Muhammad Ali? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I met Ali really when I was in college, and and a lot of that was through because he and Wilma Rudolph and Ralph Boston, who broke the record of broad jumping, went to Tennessee State too. So when Ali was over there at the same time in Rome, he would, after the Olympics, he would come to Tennessee State. And again, Wilma, who they call Skeeter on the campus, would come and get some of the ball players, and a lot of the time it happened to have been me, and take pictures with Ali. We was in magazines together as a football player, you know, so they would put the athletes together. Right. And that's how I met Ali, and we became very close. And actually, I got to tell you, that is one sweetheart of a guy. If I told you how he went out of his way to do things for me, every nice thing that you've ever heard about him, it is absolutely true. I took my project to him, and Drew Bundy, whom you probably have heard of, he was one of his handlers. what would you call it?
Managers, handlers.
Yeah, I'll say handler. I think of it. But Drew saw the product that I had, and he said, "What is this?" I said, "I came to show Ali." He said, "Ali ain't gonna like this." I said, "Huh?" He said, "Ali ain't gonna like this." So Ali just happened to have been walking by the table at that time, and he said, "What you got there?" I said, "Well, it's some school supplies. I designed some school supplies for Ali. He had never done anything with kids before, but he always loved them, and always loved them, you know. And the minute he was 6 or 7 years old, he started throwing punches at him. You think you bad? You think you can whip me? I'm the greatest. You're not greater than me." So when I showed him the book, the notebook, he says, "I like this." I said, "Yeah, but on the back of it, I wrote a poem for you." And he read the poem, and he said, "You did this?" I said, "Yeah." "Now you think you're greater than me now?" He was into poems and everything. I said, "Who could be greater than you, champ?" But anyway, I said, "But what I wanted was to show you what I have, and hopefully that I can put it into some of the stores." So he said, "I'll tell you what. Meet me and my wife at the airport tomorrow. I will get you a ticket. You can fly back with us to Chicago, and I will call my attorney and let him know that you're coming over there. And I'll have a ticket for you." I said, "Ali, you don't have to buy me a ticket. I'm trying to talk to you about business. And now you're too good for me to buy you anything?" I said, "No, but I'm talking to you for business now. It doesn't look like for me to try to have you to pay for my ticket to Chicago to see your attorney." So he said, "Well, I tell you what, when you get there, give me a call." And everything else fell in place, just like he said. When I got there, I called him. He said, "You want me to send a car for you?" I said, "No, I got my ex-wife to come and take me, to bring me out there." So he said, "Well, when you get here, get to the gate, give me a call, and you come in." So he took care of everything as he said he would. And ever since then, we've been very close, I would go to the camp at Deer Lake, and I would showcase my product with kids. And, Sifu, you should have had the picture that I had with him. I had about 15 or 20 kids with T-shirts, the T-shirts that I designed and he was holding the notebooks. And he was just pleased with it, And what we wanted to do was do a golf tournament on behalf of Ali. But he became ill, and some of the people didn't think it was a good idea at that time because he wasn't into golf. But we were trying to do it for the purpose of raising funds for his center.
Sure.
Yeah. But my life's been very interesting.
Very interesting.
I've been very pleased. I've met, I was counting in my house many of the athletes that I've had a chance to meet. And you're talking about somebody from the ghettos of Memphis, and I've been able to come and acquire the things that I've had in life. I've had a very interesting life, and my brothers and my family members are still here.
Blessed, as we call them.
We're tremendously blessed. I don't know if I've talked you guys to death here, but as Stephen said, I would be happy to have the part two. But I hope that there was something in some of the things that I said that makes sense and would resonate with somebody who's watching and say, "Wow, that does make sense," And
you're an inspiration for many people in many ways, and I think to be 78, to be in the shape that you're in, to watch you do those push-ups, and just to listen to your philosophy and how you've applied it to your life, I think a lot of our listeners have already benefited and hopefully motivated to get off the couch and actually do something. So with that, Jacqui, reset because you deserve it.